The Blackhawks lose the Winter Classic 6-2 to the St. Louis Blues, and for the third consecutive game, embarrassed on national television. Join us for a joyous CHGO Blackhawks Postgame Show coming up next. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Emma's here. Steven's here. We are coming at you live from literally the war room in the Cubs offices. That's what it says on the door outside. War room. So I'm assuming this is where Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, and Javier Baez were traded from.
This is a nice war room.
It is pretty cool.
Very nice.
As far as war rooms I've been in, this is definitely top number one.
Yeah, this is one of one for me.
One of one.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We do want to thank John Steinmiller and the Cubs for accommodating us on what was an incredibly busy weekend for them.
Yeah.
To make time to make the space to get us going in here was a big undertaking, and we appreciate John and everyone at the Cubs for their hospitality and for letting us do this. So make sure I want to mention that right off the top. Also, before we get into breaking down this game, and we're going to do us a favor, hit that like button, and remember, the like button helps us. It does not lend encouragement to the Blackhawks. So if you're mad at the Hawks, don't take it out on us. Actually, they'd probably be pissed if this episode got a lot of likes. So if you're mad at the Blackhawks, hit that like button. If you're embarrassed after this performance, hit that like button, as I hit the like button right now.
Yeah.
In response to myself.
I hit the like button very quickly.
Yeah, it was ugly. So do that if you're on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you. We appreciate you as always. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and be sure you are following on your favorite podcast app. All right. Look, man, we were here yesterday. We were sharing video of excited Blackhawks and Nick Felino saying this could really be the springboard to the second half of our season. And they come out and absolutely suck out loud for probably 50 of the 60 minutes.
Oh, more than that.
It was
the second half of the first period. For a chunk of it, they had some fight back, some actual fight back, not Nick Felino beating up Braden Shen, which when you're down 5-1, woohoo,
a little late,
cool, yeah, like to get to that point is embarrassing, but yeah, I mean they had a little bit of jump in that first period after they got down 2-0, wonderful, power play. 2 power plays for the Blues. Blackhawks had the 3rd ranked penalty kill coming into this game. Wish that would have shown up in this game, but they're not built for comeback efforts. You got the what's extremely frustrating to me is that they got the goal from Taylor Hall in the power play. You get a little bit of momentum going into the first period or going in the first intermission, and it looked like Jordan Bennington was just made of rubber bands. Like pucks were bouncing off of him. Big rebounds, and it just didn't feel like they were able to capitalize on that. And I think, you go through the stats, you go through the analytics. We'll hear from Anders Sorensen. He had kind of the same thing. Like they created chances. They just had zero fight to finish them off. And it dooms you.
Well, and again, you'll hear from Sorensen in a bit. And another thing he emphasized was, hey, you look at the analytics, you look at the stats, all the Corsies and high danger chances and expected goals and all that, and it looks fine, but they lost every battle at the boards. Yeah. They lost every battle at the front of the net, and the only place those numbers show up is on the effing scoreboard. Yeah, and that's the difference. One. And I lost track of all the goals here. I believe, it was Dylan Holloway making it 4-1 and pretty much sealing the game. Is Justin Falk hits the crossbar, probably the 3rd crossbar hit in the game. We'll get to Peter Mrazek in this one too. Rebound falls right to Holloway. Seth Jones is right there with him, and Jones just by all means, sir, enjoy your goal. I don't know if Jones lost track of the puck or whatever, but there was no resistance given. And here's the thing. If you're a defenseman and you don't know where the puck is, but your man is in front of a gaping net, tie up the guy.
Yeah.
Even if it leads to a penalty, at least you've got the guy tied up and the puck's not in the back of the net immediately.
Right.
Dylan Holloway's never scored an easier goal in his life. There's just no fight. And we talk about this all the time where the second something bad happens, they deflate. They're over, they're beaten, they're done. When this game was 3-1, this game was over. Yeah. There was no shot in hell they're coming back from 3-1. And no NHL game, the third goal was scored 7:15 into the second period. It's not even halfway done yet.
No,
at no point should an NHL game be done 3-1 with more than half the game left, but everyone in that building knew it was over.
Yeah, it's a team that just doesn't have it. They don't have the fight. They don't have the skill. They don't have the makeup. This is 3 straight games on a national scale. This is the marquee event of the NHL today, amongst their other 12 other games today. Good super marquee event.
You know what? It's right. The Hawks are probably very happy about
that. Yeah. It's wonderful that USA and Canada is going on right now, after this game, so everyone can forget about this effort. But it's a team that just doesn't have it. And they have some guys that are playing well. A lot of them are part of the future, but the majority of this team just it's not working. There's a few guys that are part of the free agency class that are working. Tyler Bertuzzi, I think, is one of the guys that you can point to. He now leads the team in goals. He continues to create on the power play. He's a guy that was one of the few. He's one of our 4th stars tonight. One of the few that really had any impact on this game.
Yep.
And everyone else is it's just not. When the majority of your team is underperforming and you don't have enough guys to pull the weight, and to expect the few young guys on this team to pick up that extra slack is just not going to work. So I think we're at a point now. We talked about it yesterday's show. Winter Classic has come and gone. They've been embarrassed in 3 straight national TV games. We are now going to enter 2025 and enter the portion of the season where it is countdown to who is leaving before March 8th. Like who's going and what are they going for?
Well, you mentioned the 4-star of the game, so let's tell you about the 3 stars. 3-2-1, Taylor Hall, Justin Falk, Cam Fowler, 2 goals. Falk. Did I leave the L out?
It was
borderline. Cam Fowler, number 1 star. By the way, his 1,000th game, 2 goals in his 1,000th game. Cool thing for Cam Fowler.
And he was just traded to the Blues.
Just traded to the Blues.
That was a good situation for him.
Good for him. So seems like a fine fella. So congrats to Cam Fowler. Taylor Hall was one of the guys you're talking about that played well. We're going to hear from him on the other side of the break zone here because, I mean, I was in a scrum with Taylor Hall and it was like his dog died. He was really upset. And he finished -3 and pointed thumb at himself a little bit, but he was one of the guys that actually was participating in this game. Yeah. The other nominees for 4-star, Nick Felino, we gave him 1 because he tried to get something going by fighting Shen. So fine. Tyler Bertuzzi obviously scores a goal. Crazy. He's only credited with 1 shot on goal and 3 shot attempts. He was he was everywhere on the ice in this game.
Yeah, he was
doing
noticeable. Everything
he could. And the other nominee, Lucas Reichel, who finished with 3 shots on goal, 1-6 and lost 5 faceoffs. That first Hawks goal, Hawks are in the power play. Justin Falk has the puck, near the faceoff dot. Lucas Reichel charges at him. He coughs up the puck. It goes to a teammate who kind of flails at it, and then Donato's there, shoots, and Hall scores on a rebound. Lucas Reichel's hustle on that play is what led to that power play goal. And I think we'll talk about this in an off-day show, but I think Lucas Reichel has been another one of the guys you can check as consistently engaged every single game, but that's not for tonight. We'll get to that at a later date.
Yeah, and I think he is due for an opportunity up the lineup. I know Craig Smith came back in this game, so that Maroon, Smith, and Reichel fourth line is kind of back together. But I think at this point, you look at the guys who are going and the guys who aren't. I think Reichel should get an opportunity to play up in the lineup.
Yeah, and I think it's coming. As you talked about, it's time to figure out who's staying and who's going. And I think when some of these guys are moved out, Maybe it's Maroon, maybe it's Smith, maybe it's both, maybe it's Taylor Hall. There's going to be a spot open somewhere for Lucas Reichel on this team because as those veterans go, maybe a Slaggert, maybe a Doc, maybe a Savoie, as I pushed for yesterday, comes up, and we'll see. But there will be a chance for Lucas Reichel. I think he just needs to kind of bide his time because, look, part of the reason he's playing well is because of the guys he's playing with.
Yeah.
They force him to be assertive offensively. So hopefully now that he's done that for
half a season, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and for him, this entire season, basically, he's been on the fourth line.
Right.
Maybe that mindset has sunk in, but again, something we'll revisit down the road. I just, for me, it's the juxtaposition between yesterday and then the arrival today and hearing from Murphy and Felino before the game and Sorensen before the game. The vibes were high. Guys were excited. And then you come out in the first half of the first period, the Blues are just curb stomping you.
Yeah.
The Hawks they came out, and I don't know if they were jittery. I don't know if they were nervous. I don't know if they were really thinking about putting on a show for the fans, and St. Louis just took advantage of that because all the pressure's on the Blackhawks to be the team that performs.
You're the host city.
But as I've been saying for the last 4, 5, 6, however many games it is, when you bring in Pat Maroon and Nick Felino and Taylor Hall and all these veterans who have been through playoffs and even rebuilds, like a lot of these guys have been on really good teams, really bad teams. They've seen it all in the NHL. That's supposed to insulate you against stuff like that. For this team to come out flat in the Winter Classic at Wrigley Field is concerning. It's very concerning for me.
Yeah, I don't think we're in a spot where it's easy to say like single out guys like who is the issues, because basically it's across the board. Like I know Bedard and Bertuzzi. I feel like those guys are going well. Vlasic has been going well this season, but it's still not enough to say like, oh, it's a separation of players. Like it's still collectively as a whole, it's not enough.
It does feel like a collective problem.
Yeah,
because I do think that the issue changes from night to night. Yeah. In terms of like which player was poor. Like Seth Jones had a really bad game today.
He's been bad since he came back from injury, and so has Peter Mrazek.
So has Peter Mrazek, exactly. But that's been the story the last couple games. Before that, it was other guys. But it still is the same. Again, as we say after seemingly every game that's a loss, it's the same story. Yeah. The fragile collapse, the lack of aggression, shooting the puck, losing board battles, losing battles in front of the net. It's copy paste. The post game shows are copy paste. This one's just a little fancier.
Yeah, right. It's got a nicer backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you said it that at 3-1 it was out of reach. I mean, the energy in the building was gone. First goal.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the power play goal at the end of the first period to cut it to 2-1 was great. You were still fighting uphill at that point. You allow them to get on the power play. In the first minute of the game, they score, and it's just gone. Yeah. Like, and it's because of the way that this team has been playing all year, especially in recent games. And then you have all this buildup, and then poof, immediately you're down 1-0, and then not to help yourselves, you give up another penalty. They score on it again. It's 2-0 on 2 power plays. Like you were done. You were done at that point, and you it's hard to get the crowd back into it. There was a pretty decent contingent of Blues fans. Like I walking in, I was like, it's about almost 50-50. I'd say closer to 60-40, but it was close to 50-50. And then it just got loud on the Blues side of things right after that. And Blackhawks, the fans had nothing to come back with it. So
they were waiting for something to cheer about. It was just like the last game where we mentioned, Bedard scores, they're up 1-0. The anthem is rocking. It's the biggest crowd of the year.
Sellout building. Yeah.
Everyone's just ready people are waiting to embrace this team. They want it. That was a fully lubricated, ready to go. I was on the score before the game. I was watching people walk down Clark as I was talking to Lawrence and Layla. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's happy. Everyone's got a new Winter Classic jersey. Bedard, Felino, Vlasic. I saw Bertuzzi guy as I was stuck on the concourse. Like, this city is ready to embrace the Hawks again, and they are dropping the ball at every turn. and it's not talent. And that's what frustrates me. This roster is not as bad as it's playing. It's really frustrating. All right, we got to hit the break zone. We're going to hear from a bunch of Blackhawks next. Taylor Hall, Nick Felino, Anders Sorensen. We're going to get Conor Bedard going too. So lots of post-game video for you to hear and see on the other side of this break zone on the CHGO Blackhawks Postgame Show. We want to thank our friends at Game Time, by the way, who got our buddies Cody and Braggs and Kevin into the game today to watch the Winter Classic and do some interaction with fans. They were at Murphy's Bleachers. They were partying all over the place while we were working.
Yeah,
like stiffs.
Yeah. I mean, I was at Murphy's, but I was just there to meet people.
You were working. Yes,
Yeah,
you were glad handing.
I was working.
Kissing babies and such.
Lots
But Game
of
Time,
babies at Murphy's. Yes.
Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste any of your time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. We absolutely love Game Time. When I want to go to an event, it's the first place I check, because I know I'm going to get the great deals. I know I'm going to be able to see the view from my seat. I know that if I find a better deal somewhere else, Game Time's going to match it. They're going to take care of it. And in case, the event gets canceled or I get canceled and no longer have a job, they've got that protection. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
And the Blackhawks have a couple more nationally televised games. Coming up on the schedule.
Great.
Unfortunately. But they will be back on Chicago Sports Network, CHSN, very soon, because that is the home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN is broadcasting more than 300 live games every year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and features a full lineup of original Chicago-focused content. They are Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core. And they are bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our great 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit CHSN.com for more information on how to watch Bulls, Blackhawks, and White Sox games all season long.
All right, Steven, I know we have a couple super chats. You want to hit us with those?
Yeah, let's do it.
I know they're not the value you're used to on the Bears post game.
All right. Well, the Duke actually has disappeared.
The Duke paid $700 to say fire the coach.
Nice.
We actually do have a big one.
Oh, nice.
From our guy, Stephen Belet.
Steven is here every damn game.
Yes. I remember him from last year and the year before. Always in here.
In his Snoopy avatar.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. $50 super chat.
Ooh.
That's big money. Appreciate you.
Take it.
He says, Jay Mario, my fellow regular Blackhawk fans, Happy New Year. If you're going out, be safe. Hope 2025 brings everyone peace, happiness, and health.
I'm not going out. After that,
I am going home to where my wife and our friends and my daughter and their daughter are having a sleepover. So I'm going home to a quiet house and going right to sleep.
I'm going home to add quotes to the recap and also go to sleep. And that's it. And then tomorrow, I said in the washroom when we were getting ready for the show, short of Conor Bedard getting traded tomorrow, I'm not working. I'm doing nothing tomorrow. We have earned a day off and we are taking it. So thank you, Steven, for the super chat.
Before we move on, we actually just got another $50 super chat.
Nice.
So those comments about it not being the Bears show feels a lot like it.
I gotta put it's New Year's Eve. We know people are not making the best decisions at this moment. We encourage you to make bad decisions on the super chats. Thank you very much.
$50 from Justin Adams. Been a busy year, so I've only been able to watch a handful of games, so I'm not sure if my review is valid, but these guys are extremely slow on the ice. They can't keep the possession. Passing and shooting sucks. What can this team do to improve?
Get better players.
Yeah, it's a roster problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem with the roster.
Fortunately, the guys you're counting on to be here long term are actually doing okay in that regard.
Yeah, the development is on the pace that you would like to see. I know a lot of people want it to be here right now, want this team to be better right now, but it's just not the case. This team was supposed to be better this year than they have been, and that has been a huge shortcoming. And I think it's a roster thing. So it's the speed of the game is coming. It's just not this year.
All right, Steven, let's get a couple more before we get to the post-game audio. Let's do one more so we can get to some of this audio, and then we'll promise you if you send a super chat, we'll get to it on the show.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Another regular, Corey, sends $5. Chicago sports continue to depress. Happy New Year to the entire CHGO team. Y'all are doing more to keep us engaged than any individual team is.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We're trying.
doing our best. I'm gonna throw this one more out there from Joey Smith, who just got it $4.99. Says, I almost paid $1,800 round trip to see this game in person from Texas. Glad I didn't. Good decision, Joey.
Just buy yourself that Blackhawks jacket available in the store.
You can get that jacket, and you'll have $800 in your pocket.
But that, I mean, look, and I think as I was talking to Taylor Hall, I think I heard Felino say, like, we have people spend a lot of money and freeze their ass off to come out here and watch us suck.
Yeah, Bedard said something.
Well, why don't let's start with Felino. He's the captain. He is always the say what you want about Nick Felino. He will always face the music when the music needs to be faced. So here is the Blackhawks captain.
And I'll say this: he's not saying anything that most other people as Blackhawks fans isn't also saying.
Fair enough. Here's Nick Felino postgame.
Chicago knows how to celebrate sports, and our fans did not disappoint today. And the way it was set up, and I think that's what makes it so damn difficult right now, is that it's just embarrassing to lose 6-2. An environment like that at home, our fans deserve better, and it's in this room to figure it out, because that is 3 games in a row where it's not good enough. And I don't know. I really wish I had an answer for it right now, because that's on this stage. But the excitement that we had before the game, thought this was going to be a turning point for our club, and obviously it wasn't.
How tired are you of having to say that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really tired of it, honestly. So I look at myself and what can we do different, and I think every guy has to do that, because it's just not working. So the old cliche, at some point the fans are going to be tired of hearing it, you guys are going to be tired of hearing it, and we're going to be tired of saying it. So it's doing it, and it's just understanding how hard you have to play and how committed you have to be to winning hockey games. And we can't be behind the 8 ball in the start of the game. And it's not pointing fingers, it's just being a pro. It's just understanding you can't give a team in that game, each team was looking for momentum. We give it to them right away, right? And then we're not a team right now that's built to withstand being down 2, and we can come back, and we kind of made a game of it. But then boom, they get some seeing eye shots. We're not committed to blocking shots, helping Peter. You can't see those pucks are going through you can see how dark it is in behind the glass. So when you see those shots coming, you lose it for a second. And it's things we didn't do. We didn't capitalize on our chances as well. We definitely had chances to tie the game, to score, and you got to look in yourself and say, I got to do more, right? So that's where this team's at right now. It's no one's going to feel sorry for us. No one's going to try to help us out. We got to help ourselves out, and that's the disappointing part. Is it seems like we crumble right now as opposed to digging in.
Nick, when you started to come back a little bit, they scored the first 2, then you get 2-1. You guys had the puck seemingly in there, and for a while after that second period, did you expect that to continue? And is that maybe part of that disappointment that it just went the other way on defense?
Yeah, it seems like that too. Like even last game against Dallas, like we had in the third period, we're like, all right, let's go get our game going. We had got something going at the end of the second, and then boom, they score first shift, right? It's just, it can't happen with this group, and we have to find a way to be really diligent in our game, and until it comes to us a little bit more, until we're the ones that are just going over the boards, momentum. And right now, it seems like we have to fight so hard for momentum to get, and then we just give it away, as opposed to making that team have to earn it. And tonight it was just disappointing, especially in this environment where we battle back and we get that shorthanded break and we don't get it in, but okay, they can't come back and score one on you, and that's where we're fighting through right now. And it's going to have to be figured out in this room.
Does it ruin your experience, or does it make it like 2 different experiences?
We're competitors. Like you want to, 2 different experiences. Like right, the lead up, everything was amazing, but then you don't win. Look at now. Like you're just you feel like crap. You feel like shit, and it sucks because you got your family out there waiting. They froze their ass off for 4 hours to watch you, and you're not able to go out there with big smiles and make it the night it should be. And that's what sucks. And for our fans too, walking home tonight, it's, their fans are celebrating, ours are disappointed. And that's a bad feeling too. We're tired of disappointing them. We want to get them feeling good about our organization and our hockey team and get them behind us. And that's not the way to do it.
The fight in the second, was that just trying to light a fire?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was going to ask him, and he actually asked me on the way over. He's like, "You want to do it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You read my mind, so and I was trying to get a spark. And sometimes in hockey, that's the one that does it. And we played a little bit better, but they had the jump tonight. They had the answers to the game, and it's disappointing because we're a team in here that desperately needs to find our game.
That is Nick Felino post game today, and I mean, it's hard to disagree with anything he says. And I noticed as we were listening to Nick, a good comment from Mark Lamont, another person who's in here very, very often. He says Nick could use this speech (parentheses) excuse for a lot of games this season. I got to believe a lot of these guys will not be back next season. So what I want to do, and I want to do this for a couple of reasons, is I want to alert people to the interview that Kyle Davidson did with 32 Thoughts Monday. It was maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes of an interview. It was long.
It was an hour.
Okay. It was,
yeah.
Oh yeah. It was
It was
basically my ride from home to Wrigley.
You listened to it on 1.5 speed. That's how you did that. But yeah, it was an hour.
He acknowledges that in his decision making, there is a group of players that are, I don't want to say like, I don't know. I think what he basically said was he keeps certain players in the loop about what he's doing and what he's thinking.
It was in the context of Bedard.
Yeah. So Bedard is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's saying, "Hey, who do you think I should trade?"
No.
Not that sort of thing. But Bedard and Felino were the two names he mentioned. I do believe there's more than that. But based on the end of last season, and maybe, this is just me speculating, just to be totally clear, with the Luke Richardson firing, that there are guys on his team that he listens to and he talks to. So I want people to hear the interview, not only for that, but I think, believe it or not, after the 6-2 loss in the Winter Classic, listening to Kyle Davidson lay out his plan, lay out his mindset, lay out his philosophy is going to make a lot of people feel better after hearing it, because it's very clear. It's very, he doesn't mince words. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it right now because they're frustrated because the NHL team sucks. But I think hearing that from him will make you feel slightly better about the way things are right now, because he's seeing it. And he's acknowledging the NHL team is not good enough. Like, that's a fact. I mean, he's already fired a coach.
Yeah.
He's going to make significant changes at the deadline, probably.
Yeah.
So he sees it too. And I think hearing him speak for an hour with Elliot Friedman, who doesn't throw him any softballs by any means,
right,
would make any Hawks fan feel a little bit better about the direction of this organization.
I agree with that, because I'm seeing it from that bird's eye view, but I think there is a very upset section of the Blackhawks fan base that is not trusting of Kyle Davidson. I think there is a lot of people who, react hindsight and see what the product is on the ice, hear what he had to say at the end of the season and at the beginning of the season about what is acceptable, and I think there is some air to that. I think Kyle Davidson is a guy that he's got his plan, he's got his belief in his plan, he's got people around him in the front. He's 6 assistant general managers, a lot of people that are deeply rooted in not only the NHL but just the hockey world at large. And he's a guy that collectively makes decisions with people that are giving him advice and guidance and things like that. So I think that is a good thing. But we're in a position where this Blackhawks team was, I don't know, is it a professional scouting problem that no one besides apparently Norm McIver looked at this roster and thought, this has got some problems offensively, and what the coach that was starting the season wanted to do didn't fit what this roster would have been capable of doing, and especially with Conor Bedard just kind of being stifled offensively to begin the season. I think there's some things that Kyle Davidson is going to be on the hook for, and I think he obviously knows that. If you listen to the 32 Thoughts interview, he acknowledges that a lot of things that he has done in his tenure is undoubtedly going to get, he knows he's going to get blowback immediately,
Right.
Even before the move is made. So he's not GMing thinking that he is, oh, I'm going to get, some blowback from the fan base for doing this. He's a guy that's going to do those things with confidence in his plan. But I think you're starting to see that plan start to wear thin on some fans. And again, like I think there is something to be said that is a reality, because I think we can't just say like, those fans, like, what, it's a reality, and that is a vocalization of where this fan base is at, and I think it shines a light on kind of where the organization is. We believe in the rebuild and the direction it's going, and the development and the long term of everything.
But we're like, honestly, we are so dug in on everything this organization does. It is unfair for us to expect the average Blackhawks fan to know the amount of depth of the system, even though we got the rebuild report and everything available at allchgo.com. Like it's not this is not people. This is our life. This is our livelihood.
Right.
So we know more about it than most. But I think that's why we try to tell people, like, hey, I know this looks so bleak right now, but there is, and it's not just Kyle Davidson blowing smoke. It's people whose job it is to tell you how these guys are going to be in the future. They also agree that the Blackhawks future is very, very bright.
Yeah. I think there is something to be said to the bleakness of the moment and how that can trickle over into the future. I think that is something that you need to start paying attention to, and there's only so much you can do in season. You fired, like you said, you fired the coach.
Yeah.
You're going to make some trades. It's going to be interesting to see the fallout from that in the next couple of months as we go up to the trade deadline. And as Mr. Duds 1984 says, July 1 is going to make or break Davidson. I don't fully disagree with that. I think this free agency class has gone relatively bad, and the next free agency class is going to be another measuring stick of what Kyle Davidson can do as an NHL GM.
All right, we gotta hit the break zone. Let's put a pin in this because I like the conversation. It's certainly worth talking about instead of just recapping a 6-2 freaking loss.
Yeah.
So we'll continue this conversation on the other side of the break on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. But we want to remind you that snowblind season is coming. When you get feet of snow on the ground and sun in the sky, not good. You need some good sunglasses to take care of you in those situations. And our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company, and they offer a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. They're durable. They're crystal clear. They're the perfect choice for all of your outdoor adventures. With hundreds of options to choose from, you will find the perfect style for you. All different colors. I wear Shady Rays all the time when I'm driving. They are wonderful. I honestly feel like when I put Shady Rays on, I see better. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know if it's if that's actually possible, but it feels like it because they are, like they said, crystal clear. And exclusively for our CHGO listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
You know what's also great about Shady Rays and this time of year?
Yes.
Snow goggles. They got snow goggles too. Big ones. Protect you when you're out there on the slopes. So yeah, hit up Shady Rays.
Good thinking.
For your snow goggles and your sunglasses. And if you want new floors, hit up Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place for new flooring. So, of course, they have copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on quality, service, or speed. So competitors will advertise low quality products that Empire simply will not carry. Now, they did just say they give you a low price guarantee, but that is a low price on the high quality products that Empire carries, because Empire is putting flooring in your home that they would also put into their own.
Yes.
Not those other guys who are putting low quality flooring in your home that they probably had Empire do the floors at their home, because that's how those low quality people do business.
Yeah.
You know what's high quality at Empire today? Their virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. All you got to do is snap a picture and instantly see how those new floors are going to look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. When you do, all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions do apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. Steven, can you cut out the part where I do a big gulp of the spit in my mouth during that read? Because that was
I got my umbrella.
that was poor audio on my.
That was actually my favorite part.
That's why I've had a
great.
couple like reverse burps come up with them doing reads. It's always fun.
It's
too.
that coffee that
It
you
goes
had.
like "Rrrp." That coffee was awful.
Oh,
For all
man.
the shout outs we gave to the Cubs early, fix your coffee.
Yeah,
Terrible.
that was not.
It
great.
tastes like an ashtray.
So to
Back to the combo, yes.
So
I think
the direction that I was going was that Kyle Davidson, as the GM of the Blackhawks, like he is getting the rebuild process of getting the future put together. He's getting it correct so far. I would say generally he has gotten it correct. The development path of the young guys is going in the right direction. It is at I'm doing it again. It is at the NHL level that I think you're starting to see some question marks, and I think probably putting a little toastiness under his chair, because you have your first big free agency class. It seems like a whiff. Outside of a few guys, it seems like a whiff.
Well,
and going into the next free agency class is going to be big. You handpicked Luke Richardson and you had to fire him. So I think there is definitely some credence to looking at what he's doing at the NHL level and how it's going to impact the future of the guys. Because if you have Conor Bedard here experiencing some crap hockey, that's going to make an impact on his development. And if you're wanting to bring up more young guys, Frank Nazar is here. I'm not saying that he's regressing or anything. Bedard is not regressing, but it is the culture of things. It is the mentality that these guys play in that you cannot let it carry.
of course, you don't want that
for too long.
Yes, I agree. The concept that the free agent class has failed, I think, was massively. First of all, we're gonna just TJ Brody is a failure. Period. We all agree. We hated it at the time. We still hate it. It was a bad signing. That is an F- signing for Kyle Davidson, especially given that he's got another year on the deal, which was unneeded and unnecessary.
Right.
Fine. Alec Martinez hasn't played, so you mark that one incomplete. Laurent Brossoit was a good signing until he got hurt training for the season.
There's no
has not
evidence
played.
that he is a Chicago Blackhawks.
Right. I have yet to see him in person, aside from a couple times on the ice, before practice.
Right.
Bertuzzi is your leading goal scorer. He has been one of your most consistent players all year long. As much as people don't like him for whatever reasons, and there are several.
Once he got going,
he leads your team in goals. And night after night after night, he is giving you effort. He isn't active in front of the net. He's winning battles on the boards. He's doing everything you brought him in to be. Teuvo Teravainen had a massive slump between two hot streaks.
Yeah.
Now we got to see, now that hot streak 2 is over, how does it go from there?
Right.
But that was a very logical signing at the time.
Oh, yeah,
So-
absolutely. I'm not. No,
I know.
I'm not
I know.
lumping Teuvo into
Sure.
the bad part.
So those two, have worked. Those are the ones that are long-term. Brody aside, F-. Pat Maroon has come in and been the fourth liner you expect him to be.
Mhm.
So is Craig Smith. Both those guys have gotten Lucas Reichel's game, if you want to credit them or not, to a different level. So this concept that the free agent class is a failure, when you look at the guys individually, it hasn't been. The group is, as a collective, is a failure, but I don't look at free agent swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. No, Brody was a mistake. Martinez, I can't make a decision on yet because he's been unhealthy, but you knew that was the case with him anyway. No one expected him to play 82 games this year. But the other guys have given you pretty much what you expect, but it's the conglomeration that's not working.
Well,
it's the as Greg used to like to say, you're building a team, not a roster.
Right. Well, and I think you have to think like how are these guys that you're bringing in also gel with the team that you have. And I think that I think of, as we look at the collective across the board of how this team is playing, you brought in almost a dozen new guys like that. you have, when you're bringing in that big of a wave to go directly to the NHL, you're not getting like young guys who might be a tweener, but it's somebody that you're given an opportunity to. Like, these were all people that were going right into the NHL. Like, you had to do a really diligent job of figuring out how they were going to gel together at the time under Luke Richardson's system. And I feel like the results that we're getting part of it could be that this just wasn't the right mix of new guys to bring in, and is leading to the collective underperforming.
Yeah, I don't want to lose sight of today, but I do. Let's do a little more on this and then get to some of the more post-game audio because it's important. But the concept that Davidson's, this free agent class is going to determine his, GM success. Big name free agents don't really come available anymore. Shesterkin's already off the board. Marner seems like a possibility. Rantanen, everyone says Rantanen's re-signing in Florida, in Colorado. Everyone is saying that
somehow.
Aaron Ekblad, probably not someone the Hawks are interested in. They don't need more defense. Nikolai Ehlers, fine, but that's not a guy who's going to turn your organization around. I look at a name like Brock Besser. That makes a lot of sense. A 27-year-old winger you could put with Conor Bedard. What is Vancouver going to let Brock Besser go? I don't know. So as you go down this list of available free agents, Matt Duchene, you want 33-year-old Matt Duchene? You want 34-year-old John Tavares?
Matt Duchene lit your ass up.
I'm fine with Matt Duchene, but I don't think Matt Duchene is a franchise changer.
No, I don't. No.
Right. So if you're looking for that guy to be the Conor Bedard's running mate until you draft a forward in this draft, and then they come up either next year or the following, whatever it might be, with the 1, 2, or 3 pick that they're probably going to get.
Right.
Is that Mitch Marner? I'm down with that, but it's going to take massive money, and a lot of teams will be after him, but the Hawks have massive money, and they've got that appeal of big city, Conor Bedard, come in here a hero, and not the way he is looked at in Toronto. I think he might welcome that, but there's limited options here for Kyle Davidson in free agency. So that notion that this free agent class is going to determine the outcome on Kyle Davidson, what's going to determine the outcome on Kyle Davidson is Frank Nazar good? Is Artem Levshinov great? Because there's a guy that a lot of people think is going to be great that he opted to not take, and Demidov instead.
Could be great.
Could be great, right? But so if these guys pan out, that's what he'll be judged on, and that's why you hire a guy to manage a rebuild. I don't think Danny Wirtz is sitting there looking at the NHL results, as frustrating as I know it is for him, saying, I need to make a move at GM, because he sees coming up the pipe. Now, if the guys come up the pipe and suck, Kyle Davidson will be fired quickly.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to this game. Good conversation. I like that. I know a lot of people, that's where their heads are at, and that's where they should be when you have the worst team in hockey. But I do want to hear from, what do we think is best? I think Taylor Hall was really good.
Yeah.
After this one. He was the first bench when I walked in, so I just walked right up to him and started recording, and he poured his guts out. Here's Taylor Hall post game.
I know you guys came into this game hoping a different atmosphere, just seeing maybe it would kind of boost things for you guys.
Yeah, I'm shocked at how we played. It's just really disappointing. Our fans, they've been through a lot this year, and they came and supported us so much today. They really felt the energy before the game, and for us to lay an egg like that, I'm really sad for the people that support us, and for us in here, it's got to be a huge wake up call. Just how hard we have to play, and this is what happens in the NHL as the year goes on, as teams they're fighting for a playoff spot. Teams are going to come and play well, and it doesn't matter if it's on an outdoor game or a national TV game or a Tuesday in Columbus. Teams are going to play hard, and we had no match for that tonight.
Before the losing streak, it seemed like things were turning. Some of the system changes seemed like implementing them or making positive swing. What's changed over this span here?
Execution. It seems like we've lost a little bit of confidence, a little bit of the swag that we had for a few games there. And we're a young group, so that can be a bit fickle at times to keep that mojo high. But it seems like just we have a bad game, and it's it takes us 3 games to get it back. So it started in Buffalo, the other night against Dallas, it was better, but tonight the execution, it was just wasn't even close, and they hopped on us. They were just quicker to pucks. They were on top of us. They were making plays, and it seemed like we didn't make plays. Pucks were hopping. We didn't have it, and I'm so disappointed.
Seems like you're taking it pretty hard emotionally.
Yeah, it's a big stage, right? And it's just disappointing. That's all. It's not anything. I love the guys in here, and I love some of the kids that we're bringing up. They're great. They're awesome, and we have a lot of really good people in here. We just can't play like that.
I know, obviously, the overall result, but scoring that goal and having that moment, and you look back on it.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, you want to contribute, you want to score, and you only get to play in so many of these. So that was a big goal at the time, but looking back, it's I end the game -3. Really, probably not a very positive contributor to what we're doing. So, in saying all this, I'm just as big a part of it as anyone. It's just disappointing.
How tough was that sequence? You had a chance.
Yeah, that would have made it 3-2 and would have been right there. But that's sports, shouldn't really matter, right? Like, it should just keep coming, and we keep that game 3-1, maybe going into the third period, and it just gives us just more air in the room when it's 5-1 and we're coming in here and we know that we've kind of laid an egg. It's tough mentally, and we were just trying to play with pride in the third period, and it's just not enough.
I mean, these guys all say the right things. That was Taylor Hall, by the way, if you jumped in late.
Yeah.
And that was real. I mean, I walked in and it was just Tracy Myers, and then I walked up and then a bunch of other people came, and he was just.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They're feeling it. They're the ones going through it on the ice. They're the ones that everyone's talking about their performance and stuff. It has been a rough go for them. But as Nick Felino said in his thing, like the people in that room have to figure it out. So it's rough to go through it. I wholeheartedly understand that. But if they want to get out of it, it's them. It's them that have to get out of it, and you got to either continue to fight back, or you're going to cave, and it's just you're just biding your time till you're either on a different team or until the season runs out of games to play.
Yeah, and I hesitate to bring this up because it could take us off on another massive tangent, but let's try to not do that. And I want to say this in an earlier conversation is you talk about biding your time until another team. There's several guys on this team that know they are not here for the rest of this year. Yep. And how committed are you to this organization? If you just know you're brought in to hold, to build the bridge to Doc or the bridge to whoever, are you going to give 100%, even if it's subconscious?
Right. Yeah.
If you're like, I'm not in this organization's plans, like, am I going to really lay out in front of a shot? Like, just because. And I think that's something that Kyle Davis needs to keep in mind is if you're going to bring guys in now and you're going to start making free agent moves, you need a little more commitment to them instead of just like, hey, we're just going to bide the time until the trade deadline and get what we can for you and hopefully ship you to a winner.
Right.
Okay.
That's why I feel like, as we're talking about next year's free agency class, unless they're going big splash, I'd almost rather him, unless they're getting big fish, like talking Marian Hossa type.
Is he available?
Signing. No, well,
I'll take him.
His value might not be as high. He's second team all century, not first.
Weird.
Unless they're doing that, I almost would rather them get next to nobody in free agency, because knowing the spots that are going to be open, I'd rather it be Slaggert and Doc and maybe Sam Renzel, Ethan Delmat. I'd rather it be that, because you have a couple of young guys that have now played professionally a year or two. Let's go. Let's see where we're at. Let's go from the third oldest to one of the youngest teams and see where you're at.
Well, I hope, Nick Felino yesterday said, maybe this is a springboard for the rest of our year. Maybe this is a springboard to the trade deadline. And say, fine, you know what? Yeah. We brought you veterans in. Maybe we sold the Winter Classic as something that would say like, hey, Winter Classic, you get to play. Great. Winter Classic is over. Bye. and you call up Doc, Savoie, list them, whoever it might be, and you give them the rest of the year to see if they're ready or not.
Where they're
What's
at,
the worst thing that happens? You lose 6-2 every night? It's been happening all week.
Oh, no, not that.
They've been outscored 17-5 in their last 3 games. 17-5. That's ridiculous.
Bad.
Part of it's goaltending, yes. And Felino mentioned it, that you can't see the
sight lines.
Well, guess
today,
what?
That's a thing, yeah.
Guess what, Nick? Tell your teammates that and shoot on Binnington from a distance. The Blues figured that out quickly.
Yeah.
And it's no blame on Peter Mrazek that he's under the lights. He's trying to see. The background is black. Guess what color the puck is? For those that don't know, for those new to hockey, for all you young hockey players
for those
out there,
who don't know the finer points of the game,
the puck is also black.
Yeah.
So maybe shooting high from a distance is an advantage that the Blues took advantage of early and the Hawks didn't. Frustrating.
I'm massaging my temples because someone in here is comparing Bedard to Theo Fleury, and
I mean, Theo Fleury was a really good hockey player for a really long time.
But Blackhawks version of Theo Fleury?
That's dumb. That's maybe the second dumbest thing we've seen in the chat
where
today.
we're at.
Let's just ignore them.
Okay.
Let's hear from Conor. Let's hear from Theo Fleury 2.0 right now. Conor Bedard post game.
40,000 people there, probably 30,000+ of our fans. That those tickets aren't cheap for them to come and support us, and it's you just we obviously in our room are disappointed with ourselves, but I feel bad for our fan base coming out to this, and we kind of lay an egg.
2 weeks ago, you guys were on a 3-game win streak. Everything seems like it's pointing up. What has happened these last 5 games?
Yeah, I think we've kind of gotten away from things that are working a little bit, and just inconsistency with our games. I feel like is maybe the biggest thing right now. But I think we just got to find what we do best and stick to that.
What's your emotion with what's going on lately? Is it like frustration, anger, embarrassment? What's running through your mind?
Yeah, a bit of everything. Losing sucks, and we've done a lot of it this year, and it's not where what we expected coming in. It's not where we expect to be, currently, and so you can't change the past. But it's frustrating losing like this, and no one has fun with that.
Does it make it more difficult in a day like this, with an event like this, and to have this outcome?
Yeah, it's a special day, and how many teams are playing outdoor this year? 4. So we're fortunate to be one of those picked, and we kind of get dog walked there, and it's frustrating for sure.
Did you let yourself take in a little bit of the pageantry and everything that was going on pre-game and during the game?
Yeah, before the game, I mean, I think warm-ups and when you're walking out, when the anthem's going, that's kind of your time to take it all in. And once you're playing, it's a game of hockey. It's just outside. It's great. It was a very cool experience. Something I'm grateful we got to do. But obviously right now it's just frustration. And then a couple weeks, whatever, you look back and you look at maybe more of the event.
Felino got into that fight, possibly to juice up the guys. Did you guys talk about that, or did that help at all?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah, that's kind of, that's what fighting's for a lot of the time, so it was a good job by him.
Conor was talking about competitiveness. That he feels like you guys have to start at the, being more competitive and showing more fight, and then the rest of it will come. When you guys are constantly talking about competitiveness, I mean, how frustrating is that when you just can't seem to bring the same competitiveness on a consistent basis?
I don't think it's competitiveness, man. We're all NHL players. We all want to win. We're all going out there and competing, and both teams are competing hard. It's a good league. Everyone's a great player to be playing here, and we're definitely getting out battled and stuff. But I don't want to say we're not competing, because I think that's a little disrespectful to the guys in here.
I think it's more consistency than not competing. You know what I mean? Is that just
consistency with how we're playing?
Yeah, with kind of how you're competing, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
consistency with our play for sure, and you know, we could maybe the competing thing, win more battles and stuff, but you know, there's a lot that goes into that, and you know, we're trying to get better. We're not happy with where we are, or going to be complacent at all. We're going to, you know, work to get better, and you know, we can definitely be a more consistent group for sure.
Is there anything technically you want to see change? Like, is there anything you can put your finger on that you can say, you know, I want to see this change and maybe the things will be better?
I think I touched on it, just consistency of how we're playing. When we were winning, 3-game win streaks, not anything special, but when we were winning those games, we were, you know, just playing the same way kind of throughout the game, and you know, I think what's happened is we'll get a flurry of 2-3 goals against, and you know, span of 5 minutes, and it's tough. It's tough to, you know, dig yourself out of that hole, you know, every night. So we just got to kind of find a way to, you know, you're gonna get scored on, whatever, but find a way to not let it get out of hand, and you know, just compete better for the whole 60.
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you, Connor.
There is Conrad Bedard after the game. He's irritated. We all are.
That's a more emotional response from Bedard than we've seen for the most part in his post-game availabilities. But I mean, this is a game that'll pull that out of you, as we've seen from the rest of the guys talking today.
It's definitely frustrating, and you feel his frustration. Someone in the chat pointed out, like, everyone's like, when's he gonna pull a Lindros and leave? This is a guy who stayed with Regina, who could have been traded to a contender, and said, nope, I want to stay here with my team. I'm a team loyal guy. And I think anytime the number 1 pick gets picked, they know the first couple of years are going to be rough, because there's a reason that number 1 pick happened.
Yeah, very, very few situations in which a team lands the number 1 pick as a team ready to like contend and compete.
Except your Chicago Bears.
Sure.
Whoops. Oh.
All right, I deal with that in the daytime. I don't do it in the nighttime too. All right.
Steven just like twitched. He's rocking back and forth. Yeah. All right. Let's do the 4-star, and we'll do some. We'll wax poetic about the event.
End
today.
on a high note.
Yeah, we'll end on a Dan high note.
Get ready for
Anyone?
2025.
Come on.
Oh,
reference.
Yeah. Oh, so we don't have enough time for me to get the reference, but I've heard that name before.
Yeah, he was a defenseman on many, many teams.
Yeah.
All right. 4-star of the game. Steven, do the honors. Who is it?
It is Tyler Bertuzzi.
Good. He deserved it.
You mentioned the snow goggles type sunglasses. He's got it in this 4-star.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, that's good. That was a good look. That's back. That's back when I was excited for this game.
That photo is not allowed near schools. That is troublesome. Oh my God. I mean, we always joke about like stupid hockey lingo, but the term beauty is thrown around a lot.
Yeah,
like Tyler Bertuzzi. When hockey players say that guy's a beauty, they're talking about Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yes,
that
9
is
times
exactly
out of 10 when someone uses that term, they're talking about someone like Tyler.
Bertuzzi.
Yep,
where you inevitably go, that guy plays hockey.
Mhm.
If you line up 50 people and say find the hockey player, 50 out of 50 go that guy to Tyler Bertuzzi.
Absolutely.
I have loved his game this year. I think he's done everything they've asked him to do. A bit of a slow start, which is what he does in his career, because he's team. Now he's got some stability. He's been their most consistent player. Him and Taylor Hall have gotten Conor Bedard, who had an assist tonight, scoring more often, putting more points on the board. I'm really glad Tyler Bertuzzi is a Blackhawk as of now.
Speaking of Bedard's assist, he ties Bobby Hull for the most points by a teenager in Blackhawks history in a calendar year, 61.
Theo Fleury 2.0, everybody. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Good Lord. All right.
Let's finish on a good.
Before we do, we want to remind everybody, we got a lot of people in here watching, and we appreciate you very, very much. I know you're all waiting to go out until we're done, so we'll finish up the show soon.
Or at least go to sleep.
Right. But we want to remind you to become a diehard at allchgo.com. Access to all of our great written content. By the way, made a little decision today that the morning or late evening recaps will be unlocked. Those are no longer for diehards only, but we got the rebuild report. We got Blackhawks beat every week. Tons of great stuff that is diehard only at allchgo.com. And it's not just Hawk stuff. It's across the board. Every Chicago team, all the great written content there. You also get a free shirt or hat upon sign up, or $35 off a hoodie like the one Mario's wearing. And 20% off all the merch from there on out, 20% off all of our events. So if you're coming to our Top Shelf Takeover on January 20th, our next big event, Hawks and Hurricanes in the suite, that's going to be a good time.
You would have saved a lot of money on that one.
You would have saved $80 a ticket, which is the cost of a membership. Do the math. So
don't ask me to do math.
Take advantage of that. allchgo.com. Become a diehard. We'd love to have you as part of what we're doing here at CHGO Sports. Let's talk about the Winter Classic. By the way, if you want to hear from Anders Sorensen, he was also very good, but for the sake of time, all the stuff's going to be on YouTube. If it's not there already, I think many of these are already on our social medias at CHGO_Blackhawks as well. So check those out. But I just want to say, like, the opportunity to cover an event like this was really, really cool. And we talked about it a little bit last night. Like, you get to skate on the ice, and we get a chance to rapper, sound check while that's happening.
A private concert, basically.
Right. It's just another in a long line of pinch me moments in my career. I'm sure in yours too. It was just top notch, top to bottom. And as we were heading out of the building, coming here to do the postgame show, I pointed out to Emma, like, look at all the little details that the crew at Wrigley have done. Like the entrance, if you watch the video, the Hawks coming in off of Sheffield there, and they go in the left field wall. They painted Winter Classic logos on the outfield wall. Like, there's so many little touches and little nuances that went into putting this event together. So I definitely want to recognize that. There's a lot of people who put a ton of work into this that will never get recognized. So thank you to them for all, from the people that clean up the puke when someone loses it in the bathroom, to the people that are putting up the signage, to the people that design the graphics. Top to bottom, a top-notch event run by the NHL and by the Cubs and by the Blackhawks. But truly a privilege to work this event despite the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I think the way that yesterday went, all the work that we did, the experiences that we had, today leading up to it, we got to meet up with some people that are fans of the show.
Yeah.
We got a number of people just kind of in passing saying like, hey, love the show, like, keep doing it, like all that stuff. A couple people in Murphy's bleachers, when they weren't spilling their drinks on me, were saying, hey, love the show, like awesome stuff. And especially want to shout out a couple people that we were able to catch their names and remember them. April, Beth, Lily, Tyla from Australia.
Yeah,
that was cool. Brandon, Brendan, and Mike. Good seeing you guys out there.
And I met Boris Dachuk in our chat.
Oh, yeah.
I met him in the concourse when we were going nowhere.
Oh, perfect.
It took me 35 minutes to get from the entrance on Waveland to the elevators, which would be probably equivalent to like third base. 35 minutes.
Barely, yeah.
To walk from left field to third base took me 35 minutes.
It was ridiculous. It was one of the worst people traffic jams I've ever had to experience. But I mean, that's Wrigley. When you get a sellout at Wrigley and you get the gates opening, that's just
I think
what
you
happens.
also had probably 20% of the people there were just staying warm.
Sure, yeah.
They just
Some
wanted
people
to not
just
be in
weren't
the
going
seats
to
yet.
their seats yet. Yeah, of course. And everyone's jumping into the merch stands and everything. And yeah, that was a cluster. But this experience has been incredible, and the views of Wrigley Field, the experiences with Wrigley Field, the experiences tied in with Chicago. I said it yesterday during our preview show that I wanted to.
Some month ago.
I had to think. I was like, when did we do that show? Yesterday. That the anthem in a sold out arena. Like, I wanted to take in that moment, and you can see it up on our CHGO_Blackhawks Twitter page. I took the video of the anthem, and it was everything I wanted it to be. You can experience it in full if you weren't there in person. The Smashing Pumpkins concert lead in, I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, it didn't sound great or whatever. To me, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Getting getting the feeling of being at this event, and they're playing tonight to and then when the teams walked out, the crowd erupted, the fireworks went off. I started crying, and I'm getting emotional thinking about that because there's a person who should be here with us today that I feel horrible that Greg couldn't have experienced this, and I think about all of our collective journeys to this moment, and it just, man, that lead up really got to me and really made me appreciative of the opportunity to be here and to cover this event and to do it for CHGO and for everyone out there as fans of what we do, and see all your comments, well wishes, all that stuff on the new year, and being thankful for our coverage, and I really do appreciate it. So that was, I would say, between the right up till the Blues scored the first goal, the experience was incredibly special and overwhelming at times, and career wise, this has been my favorite thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Greg, and I gotta truthfully admit, every time I had what an amazing experience, that was the first thing I thought of, was that he should be here doing this too. So support him. He's putting out a ton of his own content, easy to find at Greg Boyson on Twitter. That Substack is outstanding. Wrestling, music, hockey, everything that makes Greg. Follow it, pay for it, support Greg as much as you can. We missed him very, very much today, and I know he was bummed about not being here. Yeah, well, F that. How about that?
Yeah, but it's just this was a really good experience, a great event that was put on by the NHL. I think they did a great job of utilizing Wrigley Field, utilizing Gallagher Way. I feel like the Fan Fest went off well. I feel like a lot of people enjoyed themselves outside of the game. For Blackhawks fans, they are now 1-6 in 7 outdoor games. Enough. Enough.
No more.
Stop.
Mercy.
Stop. We're already dead.
By the way, I will say it was a pleasure covering this. I am ready to be done.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that the build up to this event was a lot. I think we nailed it as far as coverage goes from us here at CHGO. And I am glad to have 2 days off, come back and have this in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
As a positive from our standpoint.
100%. All right, we're gonna wrap the show up, everybody. Thank you so much.
Chats?
Let's
super
finish.
chat. Thank you, Steven.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Bill Buscemi, $5. It feels like Jones and Mrazek weren't ready to come back from injury, but rushed back to play in this game. Neither has looked right.
I don't think that there's 0% truth to
yeah,
that.
I mean, no hockey player is 100%. They're not going to wait till they're 100% to come back. I don't think Jones has been quite as awful as people make it out to be, but that's whatever. He was awful tonight, and he was awful in the last game.
There's
no doubt about it.
Noticeably bad, and it does run parallel with this losing streak.
Yes, but you
can't deny that.
So does Peter Mrazek playing poorly too.
Yeah.
So tonight I excuse it a little bit. Like Felino said, there's visual problems for the goalie, so get in the way.
Right.
Make it easier on your goalie, and they didn't do that. So he won some net front scrambles, made some huge saves when he had no business making them. So I think it evens out. But something to keep an eye on as the season goes on. But yeah, I think that they are both not 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
$5 from our friend Windy City Hockey.
Hey, where's our Dippin' Dots?
He says, my dad got a bottle of champagne from Chelios after they were popping them from the postgame show. Got Biz and Chelios to sign it.
Nice.
That's cool.
Cool.
Nice.
Chris Chelios.
That's got to be a 1 of 1, right?
I would think so.
To have a signed champagne bottle by those two guys, yeah, I would say so. That'll be fun to enjoy or display or both.
And then how about an appropriate way to end this one? $2 from Dead Hawk. Get this show done and go be with your family. Happy New Year's.
Done. You got it, man.
Done.
Thank you. Thank you, Dead Hawk.
Say no more.
And thanks to all of our regulars that are in here every show. And I do want to acknowledge too that there are a lot of people that don't interact in the chat that listen every show. We see you. We feel you. Thank you very much for that. What are we back? What day is today? I don't know what time
Today
it
is
is.
Tuesday.
We're back Friday, post game,
We're
right?
back Friday. Is a home game against a NHL team. I can't think of who.
We don't want to leave the people hanging.
I can't think
The
of who it
next
is off the top of
opponent
my head. It's a
is
home game.
Oh, Montreal.
Oh, cool.
That's winnable.
2 anthems.
Oh, I like. Oh, and it'll be the French anthem.
Yeah, Kirby Doc comes back, and hopefully he doesn't clown the Blackhawks again.
Oof. All right, we'll talk to you after Hawks and Habs Friday night on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.